morning. Did you need something, Phil? Oh, okay. Maybe a little too much. We got an issue here. Try not to touch that. Don't touch this. If I can deliver to you what's in my heart, find the words, communicate it, keep it straight, and share with you what's in my heart today, oh my gosh, it's going to be awesome. And if I can't, I hope it's good. So we'll shoot for awesome. Hopefully it'll end up good. I need to tell you what's been going on with me. I don't know if it's my stuff, somebody else's stuff, past life stuff, universal stuff. But since about February, I've been processing this deep sadness. And it's deep, and it's big, and it's right here. And so I'm crying over everything. We have 3 cars in the garage. It's not a 3-car garage, but we have a big car and 2 little cars. And so there's a way you can get all 3 cars in, and Phil has the key for that. So I was pulling the little 3rd car in, and didn't quite, it was a little snug. I could have gotten over more. And so Phil says, well, if you pull in at a 45-degree angle and you turn it this moment right here, then you're lined up. And I just went, oh, I'm doing the best I can. And he said, honey, I'm not finding fault with you. I'm just trying to coach you in how to make it work for you. Oh, you're just so good to me. Cry. Then we went to the dog show yesterday, and there was this lady who needed help moving her kennels around. And so, oh yeah, we'll just help you. So we picked up the kennels and helped move them around. And she had Dobermans. And Phil and I used to have a Doberman. Of course, I remembered my Doberman. I had a Doberman. She had a girl helping her, and the girl was looking at me like, are you? Well, once you love something, you just always do. But I've just been, like, tears have just been right there. So I don't know if they're my tears. God knows we all have crud that we go through as a kid. And I've had my share, as have you, I'm sure. And here's the deal. What happens is we take a wound or a hurt or a sad issue. Let's just rip open our heart and stuff it back there. Let's open my head and cram it in there. Oh, how about here in my hip? Yeah, I could carry a pain right there, sure. How about the knee? Let's cram some stuff in there. So we carry around this energetic pain that maybe we haven't processed out, because guess what? When you're 2 years old, you don't have the tools by which to process out sorrow. And then when you get to be older, either something will hurt and you get to process it out by dealing with pain, or you emotionally find ways to process that old stuff out. Does that make sense? So again, I don't know if it's my stuff or your stuff or whatever. But I wanted to share that with you because I need your help. Now, I do not need you to heal me. I am right where I need to be, doing right what I need to do. I don't need that. I don't need you to be angry with me and say, just buck up and get over it. I don't need that. I don't need that. And I don't need you to feel sorry for me. Oh, poor Janice. I don't need that. I don't need that. What I do need is I need you to hold sacred ground. And I need you to trust me enough that if I need help, I'll come to you and say, hey, I need a healing. Or hey, just smack me upside the head, would you? I can ask Phil that one. He's really good about doing that for me. Usually for him, it's a boot in the backside, though. But trust me to be able to be in a place where I know myself enough that I can ask for help. Now, you can check in with me. Are you okay? Do you need anything? That's way okay with me. Don't fix me. I don't want to be fixed. I want to do it myself. But what I do need from you is I need you to hold sacred ground for me. And I need you to know what that means. I say this to myself all the time, and it occurred to me as I was preparing for today that I don't know that you know what I know. So let me share this with you. What holding sacred ground means for me may not be the same thing it might mean for you. Here's what holding sacred ground means for me. Holding sacred ground is being in a place where I am strong enough and filled with enough love to allow you to be where you are. That's hard. That's really hard. Because there's a part of me that wants to fix it. Oh, I have tools. I could tap for that. I could do healing on that. But to hold sacred ground is being in that place where I can allow you to be where you are. Because where you are is right where you need to be. Dadgummit. Darn. We think it should be just fun and perfect all the time, but it's not. It's miserable. And here's the key with holding sacred ground. And I really like looking at the chakras because they kind of give us a format or a grounding spot or a energetic construct by which to build sacred ground for ourselves. Because sacred ground is that awareness of our own sacredness, awareness of our own spiritual presence. Does that make sense? And if we start with the base chakra, now here's the problem. So I thought about, well, I could start with the base chakra, go to the crown, start at the crown, go to the base, start this way and go to the middle, then go back through. So I'm not really sure what this is going to look like yet. So I just put them all out there and we'll see how it all forms out. I think base chakra is where I'd like to start with because we're talking about grounding. And there's a couple of Bible passages just quickly I want to touch on briefly because I think they're powerful. In Acts, the 7th chapter, verse 33, when this is a Stephen, and he's retelling the story of Moses. Remember we talked about Moses last week and how I think Moses is really cool because he was such a screw-up. And yet he did great things for God. Should I have said that he was a great screw-up?
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Too late now.
Too late now. Edit. We could edit that out. We can edit that out, right? No, we're not going to edit that. It is what it is. So, Stephen is recounting the story of when Moses finally met with God. In the burning bush, remember that story? And what God said to Moses was, I am the God of your fathers, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And Moses shook with fear and would not venture to look. But the Lord said to him, take off the sandals from your feet, for the place on which you are standing is holy ground, sacred ground. Now hold that thought in your mind. The New Testament, Ephesians chapter 3, verse 3. For this reason, verse 14, for this reason I bow my knees before the Father, from whom every family in heaven on earth derives its name. Sit with that for a second. Every family on earth derives its name. We're all one. We're all in the same family. Yet we fight. Families do. That he would grant you, according to the riches of his glory, to be strengthened with power through his Spirit in the inner man, that Christ may dwell in your hearts through faith, and that you, being rooted and grounded in love, may be able to comprehend with all the saints what is the breadth and length and height and depth, and to know the love of Christ which surpasses knowledge, that you may be filled up to all the fullness of God. Now, to him who is able to do exceedingly abundantly beyond all that we ask or think, according to the power that works within us, to him be the glory in the church and in Christ Jesus to all generations forever and ever. Amen. Now that's pretty Christian. So translate that to whatever words your soul can handle. So the point is that when we're rooted and grounded in love, that's when the power happens. That's when greatness happens. That's when the abundance happens. That's when the energy happens. And that's when it's magic. It gets to be magical. It gets to be phenomenal. So it's that being on sacred ground, being in sacred ground, that I'm asking from you today. And being rooted and grounded in love is the first step of that. Now, this base chakra energy is about you have a right to be here. I battled depression years ago, and along with that, suicide. Fought it a lot. Desire for that. I don't do that anymore. Thank God. Every day I wake up going, yay, I got another one. Another day to live. But during the time that I was going through that, I didn't feel like I belonged here. Part of it was because I'm not normal. And maybe you're not normal either. And so maybe you don't feel like you fit. You just haven't found the family in which you fit. You haven't found the group in which you fit, perhaps. Or you haven't found what fits for you as far as your faith or as far as your awareness goes. But the truth of this grounding energy that locks you into that love is knowing that you have a divine purpose and you came here for a reason and you have a right to be here. And that doesn't guarantee you life is going to be easy, but it guarantees you life is going to be worth it. That's your base chakra energy. Next chakra energy, this is about your tribe, finding where you fit in your family of origin, finding what role you play. And this is a challenging energy. Well, first of all, red is the base energy color. This next chakra energy is orange. I don't like orange. I never really have been a fond person of orange until I realized that leaves turn a beautiful shade of orange. And there's a million oranges out there, a million shades of that color. So when you envision that, you can envision the shade that is just right for you. It doesn't have to be the orange that you colored with as a kid. Maybe yours is a little brown or a little red or whatever. It gets to be what you like. But this is the energy of finding your place, fitting in harmony. And here's the snag, because usually what happens is I feel like I have to be loud and be heard. So I'm busy trying to make myself visible. When in fact, when we uplift each other, uplift one another, then there's this harmonious thing that uplifts us all. So harmony is the key of this second chakra energy, which locks in this, you're here for a purpose, and you can be in harmony with whatever's going on in your world. You can be in harmony with that. Does that make sense? I love the analogy of the color of the trees, of leaves of trees, because trees have got the harmony thing right down. When the time comes and it's cold, they let go of their leaves. They don't go, oh, I'm going to hang on to that leaf. I really loved that leaf. That was the best leaf I ever made. They can let it go. And then come spring, oh, I get to make new leaves. No, I love that job. There's never going to be another job like that again. I love that person. There's never going to be another one. When the seasons of change come to our life, and there are things that we need to let go, this energy of harmony allows us to be at harmony with that. Let go when we need to, grow when we can. And discerning when the time is right for each one of those things. So being in harmony with your world is this second chakra energy. Third chakra energy is about self-esteem, finding who you are. Okay, I fit in with the group. Now, I played a role in my family of origin. Maybe I played the scapegoat. Maybe I played the rebellious one. Maybe I played the victim. Maybe I played whatever role you played. Maybe you were the fix-it in your family, whatever. Knowing that you can step beyond the roles that you play and be the person that you came here to be. And you can have joy in doing that. And so the color of that chakra is yellow. And then we move to the heart chakra, which is actually the middle. That's where the crown chakra, third eye chakra, throat chakra, and heart chakra, they all meet right here in the heart space, okay? So let's hold for that one for just a second. That's the meeting in the middle is in the heart space. We're going to go to the crown chakra. This is the energy of you have a divine purpose that only you can fulfill. That's a big thing to take on. What can I do? Maybe you say just the right thing for just the right person in just the right moment to change their life. And you never even know. You don't have to know. All you get to know is you have a purpose, a divine purpose. And see how that totally fits with your base chakra of you have a right to be here? They fit together and they work in harmony. If your base chakra is off and you're not grounded in this physical plane, your crown chakra is not going to work for you. If your crown chakra is not working for you, if you don't realize that you are a divine, special, spiritual being, then your base chakra is not going to work. They work together in harmony. So this is your spiritual connection, your spiritual essence, that ability to know that you have a divine nature. Then your third eye chakra, this matches with your second chakra here, which is about harmony. This is about harmony spiritually, being in harmony with spiritual energies. This is the ability to discern and to be able to pick up energetically what people are saying and what they're doing as being two different things. That's third eye stuff. That's that discernment, that awareness. Religious groups sometimes use that awareness, that third eye chakra, to browbeat people. Interesting, it's right about the eyebrows. To browbeat people into thinking that they're bad, they're not good enough, and they're unworthy of this divine nature that's been just gifted to them. And then that short circuits that. So then you play a role and you stay stuck in a role of sinner, and you never move into this fulfilled role of self, of having self-expression. But when you have this third eye activated and you realize that you're a divine spiritual being, you have a right to be here, you have a divine purpose, and that you are lovely and wonderful and divine spirit delights in who you are, then that empowers you to be able to move into your third chakra, which is speaking your truth. Speaking your truth without having to take on somebody else's truth as your own. My truth is my truth. Your truth is your truth. That doesn't lessen what my truth is for me. Now there's some universal truths, the big T truths, that it's all about love. That's a big truth. It doesn't matter what religion you're in, that's going to be in that religion. It's all about love. Then there's a little truth. My little truth is all about Jesus. That doesn't have to be your truth. That's my truth. But the big truth is it's all about love. Make sense? I can't force my little truth. It's a big truth for me, but it's not the only truth that's out there. Because there's so many religions, I can't say it's the only truth there is. It's the truth that fits for me. Does that make sense? It's a big truth for me, and I don't want to minimize that in any way, shape, or form. But at the same time, you may not hold that as your truth. So if I speak to you about Jesus and my love and all of that, for that form of faith, you can take that as my truth, and you don't have to take it in and discern she's bad or she's not bad. I agree or I disagree. It's like, oh, well, there it is. And there's so much freedom in that. So much freedom. The good book talks about the perfect law of liberty. You can do it or you can't. It's way okay. Figure out what's right for you. Make sense? And then they both move into this heart space. This is blue, by the way. This is indigo blue. And this is green. And that green is that energy of growth and love. Because when you know who you are, you know what you're doing, and you feel inspired, man, the heart just has compassion for everyone. And it changes everything. So standing on sacred ground or holding sacred space for me is you knowing exactly who you are. And then my energy, and it's all screwed up, I can be close to you and the energy within me goes, oh, I remember that resonance. Oh yeah, and I remember who I am. And I can settle. So holding sacred ground is that space where you remember who you are. You remember where you came from, and you remember what you came here to do, which is live in faith, whatever that faith may be for you. and you don't know necessarily what your destiny is all about, it doesn't matter. Because your destiny is going to find you. And when it does, you're going to go, oh, there it is. Who knew? And you're going to be walking through it. And maybe your destiny is something you're already doing. And that's where the faith part comes in. You may not ever know it till you get through this life and go, oh, looking back, see how it all fits together. I couldn't have been here if that hadn't happened. Make sense? Sacred ground. Hold sacred ground for yourself. And that holds sacred ground for me. So then I can remember my own sacred ground. So it doesn't matter what you're going through. If I hold sacred ground for you, that'll help you get through it. We had a member of our church here, big guy, had health issues, terrible health issues. His body was eating his muscles, and he was just not in good shape. Lost his job, things were not going well. And he was at services one time, so everybody kind of clearing out, just standing in the back. There wasn't anything I could say to him. I couldn't do a healing for him, any more than we had already done. He'd already had a healing that day. But he was in agony because he knew he was so sick. So you know what I did? I got into sacred ground, knowing who I was, and I stood next to him. I just stood there. Looked up at him, he looked at me. He cried, I cried, and we just stood there. And we both together remembered that he was more than his physical body, and that he was doing things to help his physical body come along. And whatever his journey was taking him was right where he needed to be. I didn't come to fix him. I didn't need to fix his world. I didn't need to change him. I didn't need to chide him for being ill. I just held sacred ground. And he has told me since then that meant a lot to him. Because you get overwhelmed, especially if you're in a state of being unwell or your state of distress. You forget. So having someone else hold sacred ground for you is powerful stuff. You can go into a grocery store and hold sacred ground, because wherever you go, there it is. Wherever you go, there it is. Just remember who you are, and remember the power of being in that state of sacredness. And you can change the world. I would encourage you in your meditations to get yourself into that sacred space, into that place of sacred ground. And then envision that sacred ground. You ever seen, interlude here, squirrel. Ever seen Mythbusters? They love to blow stuff up. And you go, oh, look at the shock wave. They'll blow something up, and then there's this shock wave. You can see it just travel out from where the explosion was. You're a shock wave of love. And if you hold sacred ground, it emanates out from you. It emanates out from you. And if your family's like my family, they do weird stuff. And sometimes you just can't fix it. You can't change them. Even if you would tell them, don't do that, they're going to do it anyway. But you can hold sacred ground. And those sacred ground emanations emanate out from you and change the world. So hold sacred ground. Hold sacred ground for yourself. And hold sacred ground for me. I don't know where my journey's taking me. And if I burst into tears, just hold sacred ground. You don't have to fix me. You don't have to take my tears away. Just allow me to be where I'm at. Okay? And hold sacred ground for one another. Hold sacred ground for yourself. It will change everything. Mr. Phil.